Let's slow down a little bit. Talking about First Canyon, this is always known as Lower Sleep. Actually, this area right here, this is Stark Rock proper. During higher water, the shark fishermen have the bonanza in here. It's also really good for guys drifting in vertical jigging. This area right here. The next good area is the state park. This is the downstream side of Plum Island, which is good. Probably one of the most popular areas where a lot of tournaments have been won in the springtime is below the Utica Bridge, which is always known as the Utica Flats. Those black objects on the north shore, those are those barge tie downs. So those are created current breaks along with the bridge itself. It's a real good area for either Mike. Thank you. But yeah, during tournament time, it's not uncommon to look on this bridge and all you'll see is boats down here, probably for about a mile out. It's a good thing about river fishing. It's usually pretty obvious where the good areas are. And one thing about walleye fishermen, if you can control your boat, it's generally okay if you're like 30 feet from a guy. Most guys are cool with that. Bass fishing don't do it because but you can usually see where the good areas are. Obviously, if it's too crowded in there, come back later. Moving downstream, a ways. This is the town of Spring Valley. This is where all the tournaments are held out. This is Powell Landing right here. And this is the Spring Valley Boat Club right here. There's going to be a couple of real big tournaments down here in the next couple of weeks, which I'll give you guys the dates for that. But from Spring Valley, you can go upstream to an area called the Peru Flats. The Peru Flats are identified by power lines going across the river. The reason this area is attractive, there's just a lot of barge, divots and little craters in the bottom from the push boats. And also the bottom content is really to the Saugers liking. Also along this bank here, you'll see all kinds of little spring seeps coming in. So basically there's little bitty deltas that come up from the main river. This area is good. It's usually better trolled because it's such a large area. But about here, there's also some barge bumpers that offer some very good current rates. Downstream of Spring Valley, quite a ways, I would say about 4 miles. This is called the clam beds. Okay, it's pretty benign as far as to look at it. It really doesn't look like a whole lot. One thing I never knew, but clams actually like to grow in muddy bottom. That's what you'll see on both sides of the river here. But fish just love clam beds. I don't know what it is about it. I think it's just because of everything in the food chain is going off of them. A good way to identify if you're at clam beds, if you see the old decommissioned Hennepin power plant, if you start to see it on your left, you're approaching the what is known as the clam beds. Again, as you see the tournament pre-fishing this month, you'll see guys down there just checking it out. That fish was caught at the old Hennepin power plant. I really miss it. It's really good area. You not only get walleyes and saugers, but these hybrid stripers. There are saugers in the Illinois River. Not many, but they're there. It's a hybrid between a walleye and a sauger. How to identify them is that you'll still have the blotches on the side like a sauger, but they kind of be quite a bit bigger. That's a PB for me. That is a 25-inch one board, and the fish is right over it. Sorry guys, I didn't have anybody with me today, and I don't do selfies. There's enough of that out there that I just refuse to do it. Okay, presentations. Does anybody know how to vertical jig and drift down current? Does anybody do that? It's tricky. It's an art. It's somewhat easier nowadays with the smart motors. But what you're doing is that you're using a jig that is just heavy enough to get to the bottom. And then you're just vertical jigging, and you're just manipulating the angle that you're fishing over. You gotta stay as vertical as possible. When you start dragging, you're pulling it off the bottom. You're also getting a lot of snags. Take a little demonstration for you as far as what your vertical jigging is in the river. Another nickname that it's called is called slipping. And what you're doing is that you're putting the bow into the current, okay? And you have just enough thrust to where you just go a little bit slower in the current. Use a pretty heavy jig, lower it to the bottom. Demonstrate it here. As you're moving along with the current, if you're staying vertical, you're good. If you start getting an angle like this, that's about finding the thrust on your motor. If wind is starting to blow you off, your angle is here, turn that motor a little bit. So what you're doing is that you're chasing the line. Most guys overwork it when they're vertical jigging. What you're doing is that you're letting it hit the bottom, and you're just hovering it right above the bottom. Saugers and walleyes in rivers, they are going to be within a foot of the bottom. In fact, saugers even more so, they tend to be right on the bottom. So if your bait is within a foot of the bottom, it's right in the strike zone. If it's up here, they can catch on. So use a heavy jig to start with until you get more confident. But vertical jigging is a mainstay on the Illinois River and the Mississippi River. These are some of my favorite baits. Of course, you can use the old jig and minnow, which I didn't have any pictures of minnows, but we all know historic jig and minnow. I tend to go a lot more plastics now. They tend to catch bigger fish, and there's a lot less powder with live baits. Berkeley Gulp minnows, they are awesome. I use the small 3-inch size. I usually pop off the head and I'll just spread it right on a jig like that. Who's fished with the Berkeley neck scent plastics for bass? Anybody? They are great, and their shapes are not only for bass, but they also got some real good walleye shapes. This bait, a flat-nosed minnow, can also be drop shotted, but I like using it on the jig head, jigging for walleyes and saugers. Some real good plastics. It's the Berkeley twitch tail minnow. All it is it just tapers down to a little bitty end of it right there. Just seems to have action to where you're not even doing anything with it. These are the authentic plastics. They're very hot for walleyes. This one's called the Moxie. Basically, it's a twister tail with a ribbed body. Come a lot of good fish out there. Then you have the Berkeley Griffle Shack. These baits you can cast. You can anchor or spot lock at a good current rate, and just cast them shallow and bring them back. These are very good casting presentations. I just demonstrated what certain types of boat control. And slipping can be best defined this way. It's using your bow mount trolling motor to keep line vertical and always be bouncing that jig off the bottom just to make sure you're there. But obviously, if you start getting a little shallower, a little bit deeper, you get to those little holes that are in the river bottom, you can drop the jig in there. Casting, like I said, it's just either anchoring or just using spot locking your snowboard. I'm going to be talking in the next presentations here. I'm going to talk about trolling. Trolling is also a very good method out there, especially when you're trying to find fish and working some of these more expansive areas. Here's a location what I was talking about, gravel sandbars. That's a big one, mainly because of, it's gonna change, according to the area that you're in. Obviously, the main channel is gonna be at least 12 feet deep for the barges. But the areas that I'm talking about, the river stretches I'm talking about, 15 to 20 feet deep. And you always have that break line where it's going, where the river is just coming off the bank and then breaking down into the main channel of the river. That's always key. And again, when you're fishing in a crowd, you can always see the guys lined up at a particular depth contour. And it's really hard to find, the depth that they're catching fish at. Tournaments. March 17th is the Illinois Walleye Trail. That's a local circuit. Usually about 50 boats. And on the 22nd and 23rd is the Masters Walleye Circuit. That's been at the Illinois River for almost 30 years. It's always a big darn deal, mainly because of all the walleye pros in the country are itching to get fishing. And this is like the first tournament of the year. Back in the day, they used to have almost 400 boats down there. Numbers dwindled a little bit, during those down times in the 2000s. But now there's back to about 200 boats again. But the pro walleye world needs some love. Bass fishing is getting bigger and bigger, and it's great. I'm a bass fisherman too, especially with the excitement of Major League fishing, high school fishing. It's great. Pro walleye fishing, it's just remaining stable. I mean, obviously, it's a more compressed area of the country where we're walleye fishing. But go to these weigh-ins. They need the fan support, but also you'll learn a lot. You look at these guys' boats as far as how they're fishing, and don't go to their first day, but the second day, some of these guys are real forthcoming as far as where they were and how they caught. Trolling. One of the best ways to troll the Illinois River or any big river. Everybody used the Wolf River rig when they were kids. Okay, so otherwise known as a three-way rig. Same setup, but it's a longer leader. As opposed to a live minnow, you're using a floating minnow bait. The best floating minnow bait in the world is the original floating Rapala. But it's critical that it's floating for the reasons of this bell weight is tapping the bottom. And this bait is right there in the fish's face. Sometimes your trolling speed is just barely with the current. That bait is just down there working. You can work this up until 1 mile an hour. Why I have a bait caster reel? This is a heavy setup. And also, depth changes are just a lot easier to make. You just press the button and the bait, you let the bait to the bottom. What's critical in trolling, these setups always have at least a 45-degree angle. Reason being is that if it's more of an angle than that, you get stand up and your bait is just not consistent in the bottom. If you're not getting there consistently, put more weight on it. It's not uncommon to be using 4 ounces of weight down there. So obviously you gotta have a beefy rod to get you down there. But this is just such a good way of catching fish down here. The tournament guys that'll be free fishing in a couple weeks, they'll typically have just 40s rods set up and rod holders. They're rod holders because they have it dialed in as far as the right depth. I mean, I prefer to have a rod in hand. I can rod in my hand. You can feel the heads. You can regulate the depth changes a lot better. I didn't mention hair jigs. when I was showing all the different plastic baits. They work real good out there, especially when the water's cold. The water's 43 degrees right now, which is almost the time, they're gonna be snapping on minnows. But this is the VMC Moontail, just beautiful jigs, and they're also really easy to put a stinger hook on. Again, you're vertical jigging it in the same way, just hovering it wherever the bottom. Guys, before I get too far here, any questions as far as what I've been talking about? Presentation, baits to use, trolling speeds, or okay. There's more time to confuse you guys.
Mike. The vertical jigging, you want to make contact with the bottom, but you don't want to be like snagging on the bottom.
Right.
Thus, you're tickling the bottom?
Yeah, thus you gotta have a vertical presentation. If you're angled in the least bit way, you're dragging the bottom. The riverbed is full of rocks. It really is. And there's just something about that bait just being right above the bottom. And everybody ice fish here? Okay. You guys get the whole dynamics about vertical fishing. As far as it's got to be straight down, and you're following your jig with your pressure as far as how far it is above the bottom. Same principle, it's just bigger header stuff.
Been a couple of years, right?
Our ice fishing lasted 2 weeks this year. So that's a sore subject. All right. What I'm going to talk about next is the Fox Chain of Lakes. If anybody's lived in this area all their life, we all know the Fox Chain of Lakes. Boating traffic is legendary. It's like the only place in the world where you can see 50 boats on a 200-acre lake. It's nuts. I still got some fond memories of when my old man would pick me up there. We would usually rent a boat on the bottom of the Sticky Lake. And we throw, Johnson Silver minnows, plastic worms, the bass in the springtime. But I'm sure a lot of us have unpleasant memories about the Fox Chain of Lakes. The boating traffic is legendary. Keep in mind, that is in summertime, on weekends. Yeah, boating traffic can be heavy. Best time to fish Fox Chain of Lakes, really, it's April and May, before everybody has their boats in the water. And I can assure you, you go there during the week, it's beautiful. The water's been cleaned up quite a bit. A lot of it has to do with now all these municipalities actually have sewer systems as opposed to having all septic seeping into the lakes. I remember it when I was there with my old man in the 60s. Yeah, you'd see some. The water would like be green by like May of it, so. You do gotta buy a sticker up there now. Now let me tell you about that. It's called the Fox Waterway Agency. They've done a lot of good things because another thing that the chain's known for, it's called a mud hole for a reason. There's just a lot of silt in areas. They've been dredging up there for years and years and years. Water quality has, they monitor the water quality, especially to pinpoint if there's some, they have runoff coming in certain areas. And yes, there is a user fee, but I'll get to that later. It's $100 a year, which I fish there probably 10 times a year, so it's nothing for me. You can also get a $25 pass, which many of you guys watch your boats in a lot of areas. Now, it's like $17 in Lake Geneva. If you watch your boat like over Chicago someplace, coho fishing, it's $25 all day. It's nuts. But that is just, it's right in line with what you can expect to pay. There is this is cited, that's okay. The best launch on the lake is Fox Chain of Lake State Park. It is free. It's a beautiful launch. And actually, where you bring the boat out is actually a real good area of the Fox River. So it is free there. Yeah, there's probably 100 restaurants and gym meals on the lake where you can watch your boat. Again, most of those places charge $25 to $35 a month. There's also a small tournament circuit that fishes up in Fox Channel Lakes, the World Walleye Association. It's really opened some eyes as far as stacking walleyes I think we're in. It's amazing the amount of walleyes that it's getting in the Walleys. You can also monitor water levels for the Fox Channel Lakes. Not as much as an issue, only because of on the Fox Channel Lakes, the higher the better. The reason being is that we got more current running through the lakes, and as you see, it doesn't vary all that much. What does happen sometimes is that the water will get so high that they have no lake. It's actually a good time to fish because you can go there in the middle of July weekend and fish in the lake. So it's you got to worry about getting run over. One of the reasons that walleye fishing is so good in the Fox Channel Lakes, they have a very progressive walleye regulation that's really helped out the lake. You can only keep walleyes that are between 14 and 18 inches. Under 14, you got to throw them back. If they're between 18 and 24 inches, you got to go back. Yeah, that breaks your heart. But I have also caught more walleyes over 24 inches out of the Fox Channel Lakes than anywhere else. So the regulations are there to grow bigger fish and also to protect the spawners that are in the Fox Channel Lakes. Okay, there's a lot of lakes there. As you go north, you got Channel and Catherine Lake. Now these are your typical northern natural lakes that you'll find in southern Wisconsin. Decent water clarity and weeds. May is my favorite month for fishing the Fox Channel Lakes. Reason being is that the fish are done spawning and they're feeding. The north shorelines with the early emerging weeds, that's all you need to know. We're talking, you're throwing just a jig and minnow, jig and leech, long weed edge, and 4 to 6 feet of water. It's a pretty easy deal. Another thing which I'll be mentioning here is productive bass for walleyes. A lot of your walleye fishermen who are just used to fishing the North Country, the northern lakes and stuff, kind of struggle out here because walleyes live really shallow these days. I mean, even on the relatively shallow, relatively clear lakes, we're talking 6 to 10 feet of water when you're finding walleyes almost all the time. And deep weed edge is about 8 feet in these lakes in the northern lakes. Lake Marie is right in the middle. That is the best walleye lake in the chain. Reason being is that it has a lot to offer. We have weed beds. And as you notice, there's just a lot of turns, inside turns and bars across the lake. On the right-hand side there, that was my first TV up there. Again, I was over 25 inches, and as you notice, they got a screwed up tail, so it'll probably be even longer. If it didn't have a screwed up tail, I think that fish took a lot of rides in the live well, so won some guys money in tournaments. So, but that's Lake Marie. The DNR also nets fish out of Lake Marie for taking to the entry to spawn. For some reason, a lot of walleyes will actually migrate into Lake Marie to spawn. So it's a great lake. It really is. It's again, you can do no worse by just staying on Lake Marie all the time. Going to talk about current areas on Fox Chain. There's a lot of bridges. The Fox Chain kind of functions like an impoundment, like a reservoir system, because the water levels are regulated by the McHenry Dam. Now, the water's up a little bit around all the bridges. We have current. This is where it gets crazy. Some of these bridges only have like 3 to 4 feet of water around. But it's got a hard bottom. It's got plenty of bait around there, and bridges are just great. Suggestion on bridges, the Grass Lake Road Bridge actually goes right across the bottom of Grass Lake. That's another fish over 23 inches that I got there underneath the Grass Lake Bridge. Route 12 Bridge, I'm sure you guys maybe get one over it, and yeah, it's pretty funny to watch. You drive over there like a 4th and you'll just see boats as far as you can see coming through that bridge. Coming through the bridge stand right here. That's where the heaviest current is on the whole box channel lakes. Again, it's an area that you just camp out all day and catch fish. Granted, you'll catch a lot of junk fish in there. The carp love it around there, as well as the drum. But it's really a good spot. Also, the river below Fox Channel Lakes is also real good. Chapelville Road Bridge. You also got some clam beds, which are downriver. Clam beds are tough to find. You kind of run across them by accident. If you're just you're snagging up a lot, you're dragging a jig, or if you feel with a crankbait. Up here, they are golden too when you find them. River fishing the river, you can fish the river above the Fox Channel Lakes. That's all real good. What's peculiar about the river up in that area is you'll see like a marshy shoreline. It's like, okay, how can it be that deep? You think it's right against this marshy shoreline, it's gonna be like this deep. And there's like some deep holes there. There are some bends and stuff to where, from here to the wall, you're like seeing cattails and blackbirds, and it's 10 feet of water right there underneath there. So the river above the chain is real good. And of course, I talked about the river flowing out of the lake. I'm not mistaken, just a real good area. Here is a map of the Stakey Lake. You can see this area. This is the outlet of the Fox River. There used to be islands here. There's still a couple islands, but this is all rocks right around here. Again, rocks are also golden on the Fox chain. If you find them, you'll be fishing there. Fox chain is very trolling friendly, meaning that there's just a lot of flat bottom there. There's a lot of areas where it's just 4 to 8 feet water. The good thing about the chain is that you don't got to screw around with planer boards or anything like that because the water is stained, and these fish are used to being run over all the time. So it's just a great. All you got to do is just flatline everything, and it's fun. I have caught each species in one day trolling out there. That's just part of the fun. That's one of the typical size walleye that you'll catch trolling out there. That's like a dreaded upper stockfish. It's got to go back right away. So I'm going to be showing some pictures of some crankbaits here, but speed is critical. I'm sure a lot of you guys are trolling for muskies and walleye, muskies and roggers. 3 miles an hour. Yeah, faster the better. Walleyes, trolling cranks, 1.5 to 2.5 miles an hour. I'm also going to show you some live bait rigs that I'll use up there. Obviously, that's like almost like a dead stop, like slowly going forward, 1 mile an hour. One live bait rig that works great up there. Really, I never used it until I started fishing the Fox Channel Lakes. And you guys that fish river know what a Duke rig is. Basically, what it is, it's a Wolf River rig that has a heavy jig on the bottom, as opposed to a weight. A double barrel rig is a variation of that. It's just lightened up quite a bit. As opposed to a 3-way swivel, I have 2 barrel swivels here. being in the Fox chain of lakes is pretty shallow. It's not uncommon to be fishing 6 feet of water. All you need is maybe an 1/8 ounce of jig to be taking the bottom. On the other end, I'll have a usually floating jig head, or in this situation, I have a glow bead right there. On the jig, when the water's colder, you put a minnow on there. This is the Northland Fireball jig, probably one of the best live bait jigs made, and they're also great for leeches because it's a short shank. Walleyes in the Fox chain love leeches. Once that water gets about 55 degrees, leeches are tough to beat. But, you know, you can sometimes put a leech on one end, minnow on the other, to see what they see what they prefer that day. Also, half night crawlers are real good to use out there. But you know, this, as opposed to sitting in the front of the boat, what I will do is that I'll just be in the back of the boat, using smart motor. Just flip this in the back of the boat, maybe about 20 feet. And what a lot of your tournament guys will do out there is that they'll have the old 2 rods like this. We'll do 2 rods. It's really really easy to work that way, and it's really killer up there. So it's called the double barrel rig, always known as the Fox chain rig. Crankbaits, very common as a glass shad wrap. They like it up there. What I also like about it is that you can cast it on bait casting tackle. That's a smaller version of it, of the glass shad wrap. The 2 baits in the bottom are the best trolling baits up there. The little orange one, that's called the Selmo Hornet, size 4. What's amazing is that it's really small, almost like a crappie size. It will not, you only need about 25 feet of line out before it can be taken bottom 7 feet of water. That is a bait that I have caught 8 species of fish on it in one day on the chain. That's a size 5 footer shad. Again, just a great bait up there. One thing I may have missed when I was talking about apps, but there is an app called Precision Trolling app. Anybody familiar with that? There's a walleye pro actually about 20 years ago. His name is Mark Wollenberg. He actually took the time to test hundreds of crankbaits. He used a diver, he just trolled with a boat, and he chronicled how deep all crankbaits go. It was a book that was very popular. It's called Troller's Bible. Now it's on an app. And what you do is that the app is free, but like for $2, you buy a dive curve for a lure. And you'll scroll through it and say, okay, a size 5 footer shad. I want to troll 8 feet deep with it. You scroll through it and says, okay, use a 10-pound test line, I got to have 70 feet of line out. I mean, it's that easy. And that is only then have I become a decent troller using that app. Who drop shots here for bass? Guys, it's real hot for walleyes. Why it's taking so long to catch on to the walleye world. But there's the flat nose minnow on top here that I talked about for jigging. Then you got the flat one, which is one of the hottest drop shot baits for bass right now. Walleyes love them up there on the Fox chain. Imagine anywhere walleyes swim, you can drop shot. YouTube fishing, couch angling. Let me tell you, this has really cut down the learning curve for a lot of guys, especially all the young anglers coming up. You can learn so much watching YouTube. The stuff I put up there is stuff that is really relevant to river fishing. The next bite, for instance, that's made by some walleye pros. Really, really good. You know, these guys are all, you know, this guys are also fishing on a $100,000 walleye boat. He's sponsored by that. This guy, Angler X, I really like. He is a guy who fishes out of a 16-foot tiller boat with a 50 horse on it. He fishes the upper Mississippi River. Just a really fun guy to watch. Joe Lakuta is another walleye pro. I find his stuff very well good for rivers. Larry Smith Outdoors, he's another river guy. Tom Boley, he's probably the most popular guy on YouTube right now. You can just find out everything walleye fishing from this guy. His home area is in northern Wisconsin. He also does some Minnesota stuff. Of course, Uncle L on Angling Edge, and then Wire to Fish. The bass guys, I'm sure you guys watch that. It's excellent stuff. We also got plenty of walleye fishing on there. All right, guys, that's about it. You guys got any more questions? There was a lot of stuff I threw at you, but I just love walleye fishing in the rivers. I do tend to struggle on lakes sometimes because of especially with trolling. You're dealing with suspended fish, putting out six planer boards and catching 12-inch walleyes. Put planer boards out and stuff. It's not really my thing. Fishing rivers. And of course, the Fox Channel Lakes is a lot like fishing rivers, very shallow water. And guys, this is fishing that's an hour and a half from home. It's something that you can do for a day trip, especially some of you guys have a lot of sick days or you're tired or something, just go for the day. Fishing is, I start fishing out there in late April, and I'll fish up there until June. The fishing still is real good out there in June. The boating traffic just started getting a little nuts. Basically, all these guys are putting the play boats in for the year Memorial Day weekend. So it's boating traffic gets worse and worse and worse. But guys, any questions? You can ask me now, or I'll be hanging out in my wings after the breaks. Thank you all.
Hey, Mike. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
That's not me. No. But I think that is Ralph. That's Ralph Besser.
No, Bernie.
That's Bernie. When I used to fish with him, he didn't have a beard. And that guy on the left, I haven't met yet. So.
David Putnam.
Okay.
All right, before we take our break, did you know we got raffles going on? We got fishing pole, wine, and a chunk of face. Raffle tickets for this is $5 for one, $20 for five. Bag of tickets done, get the garden raffle. When we get back after break, we can do our door prize. So thank you all. Take your break.